Live from Amalie Arena, Rumfish Grill is where we're at, where it'll be rocking tonight. You know, as we look at what could happen, it doesn't get more exciting in a Game 7 unless, of course, it's the Stanley Cup Final, this Eastern Conference Final. Jay, I think it's pretty simple. The old boxing saying, everybody got a plan until you get hit in the face.
That's right.
Well, they got hit in the face on Monday night, and the Lightning did not respond. So what happens tonight? I'm going to have you talk about the options we have. What's the key to a Lightning victory? I'll go with Dan Girardi, who's 6-2 in Game 7s. This is what Dan Girardi said. I think it's pretty simple. We just can't play the way we did Monday night. We have to respond to the physical play. Do that and win. When the Lightning are physical, they win. When they're not, they lose. And they got pushed around and beat up Monday night.
And ironically enough, one of those two losses from Dan Girardi came from the Tampa Bay Lightning 3 years ago when they went into Game 7 and won 2-0. So, and if you remember that year, Ron, they lost Game 6 here at Amalie Arena. They got blown out. I think it was 7-2 or 7-3. So, you know, a lot of times people think, oh, it carries over. Not necessarily. A different animal between Game 6 and Game 7. I think the Lightning have a much better performance tonight here at home.
Well, they have to show up, and not that they didn't on Monday night, but the whole time it looked like Monday night they were hoping and playing defensively that the Capitals didn't score. It didn't look at any time like the Lightning were going to score and take a lead. It looks like they were just trying to hold on, and to get out hit like they were, whatever it was, 39-19, to get physically pounded and not respond. At times, to me, they looked intimidated and or tentative.
I think they were trying to just take their best shot and just wait for that one opportunity. But sometimes that one opportunity doesn't come. I mean, Cirelli had a really nice chance when he went forehand to backhand, and then Kucherov at the end of the period when he hit the post. But other than that, I mean, do you remember any other times where they came close to scoring?
No, and going back to what Girardi said, and going back to a guy who didn't score in that game, who was a huge factor, Ovechkin.
Yep.
He just willed his team by his physical nature, by his intimidating tactics. Look, the Lightning were keeping their head on a swivel. What's going to happen? Who's going to crush me next? Am I worried about turning the puck over? Am I worried about getting blasted? Am I worried about scoring a goal? It looked like they were worried about where's the next hit coming from. You see Orpik, who was very physical. Obviously, Tom Wilson, that's his game, but Ovechkin led the charge. Smith-Pelly was hitting everything in sight.
Well, I think that's what you got to remember, too, and that's why he's one of the best players in the NHL. Not just because of his goal scoring, but because he can do things outside of, all right, when I'm not scoring, what can I do to also help the team? And on the inverse side of that, look at what Stamkos and Kucherov did not do. They weren't scoring. And what else were they doing to help the team? Nothing. I think Stamkos was weak on the boards. Kucherov turned the puck over in the neutral zone. Kind of like what we talked about at the end of the regular season. Like, are they going to still do this?
Well, Kucherov reminded me of, I hate to use the football player, Jay Cutler. I mean, can you have worse body language? Kucherov in Monday night's game? What happened? Hanging your head? Almost looked defeated. He's got to step up, man. He's got to be aggressive like Ovechkin was. You're the star. Him and Stamkos are the stars of the team. If you're not scoring goals, be a factor in another way like Alex Ovechkin was Monday night.
And I wanted to ask you this because this is one of our main topics of conversation yesterday. You need your best players to play their best at this time of year.
Sure, yeah, of course.
But I think in Game 6, the Lightning's best players were actually their worst players. Do you agree with that saying?
Yes.
It's crazy, though, to think that how well they played in Game 5, how well they started, how good these guys are.
And how good Stammer has been as of late.
Exactly.
But to play, and I'm going to go back to Kucherov, though. That's the guy that if you're not going to be shooting or scoring goals, you got to do something else. In the game where he blasted a Boston Bruins player, that set a tone.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that was New Jersey series. Remember when he had the big hit with Kucherov there? I mean, that's what showed, hey, everybody, he's not just a guy that scores goals.
Right, I can do other things.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to score goals or hit, at least be tough on the puck. At least be hard to the puck. At least be tough on the boards. And puck retrieval. How about puck retrieval? That's what Washington was also doing Monday night.
And I think you look at Game 6, and it kind of reminds you of Game 1 and 2. It was like, it's not that they lost. It's how they lost.
Yeah.
They just got dominated physically, and there was no point in that game where you thought that the Lightning had a grab. The only time that I thought the Lightning had a chance was early in the third period because Washington started playing a little bit defensively those first 5 minutes. You know what I mean? And it was 1-0. But then a couple big shifts in the offensive zone, a bad call on the icing, the Capitals make it 2-0, and that was all.
And we know the Lightning have it in them. Look what they did in the first period of Game 5 Saturday night. They were by far the better team on Saturday night. Repeat that in the first period and try to carry it over for the next 2 periods tonight. But if you're not physical, you're not going to win. It's that simple. And when Girardi says it that way, we have to respond to the physical play. I think it's pretty simple. A guy who's 6-2 in Game 7s knows what he's talking about.
Exactly, and I think you can make a fair assessment that in Games 5 and Game 6, the home team really took the energy from the crowd and applied it to the game. And it's almost a story of 2 series. The first 4 games, it was no home ice advantage, and I thought Games 5 and Game 6, there really was a home ice advantage. So if we're going to go by that rationale, Game 7 should be good for the Lightning.
Well, that was good because in Game 5, it took all of 19 seconds for the Lightning to score that first goal, and then they were up 3-0 before you knew it. So come out hungry, and the hungrier team on Monday night was easily the Washington Capitals.
And I think, Vasilevsky kept him in the game for as long as he possibly could. I thought Braden Holtby had a decent game. I don't think he had to make any, 10 bell saves. But the one thing I noticed with Braden Holtby was he saw every puck that was coming his way. There was no traffic in front.
Yep.
They were easily getting pushed out of the top of the goal crease there. The Lightning have to get traffic in front. They have to be more physical, and their stars have to be the stars.
And Jay, as you said, they were getting pushed out of the crease. They were getting pushed everywhere.
Everywhere.
The Lightning were getting pushed. They were getting pushed around on Monday night. So here are the options. The key to winning Game 7 tonight. Cooch and Stammer showing up. 45% of you say that's the key. I say the key is the second option. Playing physical. 36% of you are going that route. 14%, the Caps choking it away, and then 6% Bassi and Vezina form. Bassi has been great, other than the first 2 games, and as John Cooper said, even those games weren't all his fault. So Bassi's done his job. Let's see the superstars, the other superstars, like Kucherov and like Stamkos, who was really hot until the last 2 games, pick up their play.
And we're here from Amalie Arena right outside of Rumfish Grill, 108. We also got Facebook Live going for our first segment here. And Justin Beasley brings up a good point here, Ron. Also think Braden Point should be on that Stamkos-Kucherov line. Morning skate today, it was Stamkos, Killorn, and Kucherov. Instead of Stamkos, Kucherov, and Palat. So maybe a little bit of line changes here for John Cooper.
Cooper's done that before, even though he didn't announce it. He made some subtle changes to the lines. They worked, and hopefully it works tonight. And for those that are worried about what goes on Monday night, that's way down the line.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the Lightning have to show up in the first period, and you can't take a shift off, let alone a period.
And I think there was a really indicative shift early on in the game in the first period, Ron, where Stamkos had a 3-on-2. He's coming down the right wing, and he passes the puck.
Yes.
And he did it again here during morning skate.
Do you think Ovechkin's going to pass the puck?
No way. You shoot the puck that hard. You get inside the blue line, let it rip. I was talking to our buddy Tom Jones from the Tampa Bay Times, and I said, they were working on a 2-on-1 drill. And I said, I know it's 2-on-1, but if you're an elite goal scorer in the league, why are you taking the puck from the face-off dot and trying to pass it back to the high slot? It makes no sense. A lot of times I'd rather take Stamkos shooting the puck and having the guy save it and get a rebound than him trying to pass the puck.
Absolutely. That's your strength. Your game is you're one of the best shooters in the game. Ovechkin doesn't pass up shots. If you're Stamkos, don't pass up shots. And if you're Kucherov, same thing, and don't turn over the puck. And don't be lackadaisical. As soon as the puck drops tonight, I'd like to see Kucherov hit somebody or fight for pucks or completely play different than he did on Monday night. Do not play the way you did Monday night, Cooch.
And there's a lot of things with hockey, I think, where play is contagious. You see it with Yanni Gourde, you see it with Braden Point. When those guys are going, it gets everybody else going. But it's also negatively, too, isn't it? Ron?
Yes,
It's like in the lineup in baseball.
Contagious.
Your guy strikes out a lot, it's contagious. Guys hitting you well, it's contagious. You see that with Kucherov. When his play diminishes, it seems like the rest of the team goes, yeah.
He's not into it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You very rarely see this team play well when Nikita Kucherov is playing like he did the other night.
When you see guys like Wilson, Orpik, and Smith-Pelly follow the lead of Alex Ovechkin and just crush guys, you know it's contagious the other way.
But that's what you need. You need your star players to show up. TJ Oshie played phenomenal the other night.
He did as well,
and
yes.
you need your fourth line. I mean, give Chandler Stevenson credit. He made that icing call a close play where they negated the icing, okay, and then they make the pass, and then Devontae Smith-Pelly makes it 2-0 and put the game out of reach. Josh Jones here on Facebook Live, does it look like Adam Erning will play tonight, or is he still a scratch? Any lineup changes? Doesn't look like any, maybe a line change here or there, but there's not going to be any changes, and that's what John Cooper's been doing all play.
Yeah, you don't want to make a drastic change like that at this point. You got to Game 7, and by all means, go with what's been working. And look, just repeat Game 5.
Exactly.
Repeat what you did Saturday night here at Amalie Arena.
It's all about good starts. Have a good start. And you got to give Barry Trotz credit. We talk about making adjustments. He made a really nice adjustment in Game 6. He started his fourth line against the Lightning's fourth line because he saw how well that fourth line did for the Lightning in Game 5. So they said, okay, we're going to go fourth line on fourth line. Keep an eye on what line starts tonight for Washington. Do they go back to what they did in Game 5 and start with the Ovechkin line? Or do they say, hey, it worked in Game 6, let's go fourth line on fourth line and try to negate that initial push that the Lightning got in Game 5?
Well, we know how good the fourth line for the Lightning has been.
Yeah.
The way Callahan, Kunitz, and Paquette have been playing.
They took some hits, but they kept moving. That, to me, was a great indication of what going forward to Game 7. Those three guys all took some pretty big hits, especially Paquette. I mean, he got licked a couple times.
And he got right back up.
He got right back up. Girardi took a really tough hit from Smith-Pelly. Ovechkin was hitting everybody. But they kept coming back. That fourth line, I think that bodes well for tonight.
Yeah, they kept getting back up, but they weren't the ones that initiated hits on their end. And I'd like to see some of that. We'd both like to see some of that tonight. All right, the lines, if you want to get a hold of us and talk about what we just discussing, or do you have another option of what the key to the victory is tonight that we didn't put as one of the four? Hillsborough 990-4620, Pinellas is 461-4620, anywhere else 888-546-4620. Light us up, let us know, and hopefully the Lightning are lighting up some of the Capitals tonight.
And also get us up on the Simpson Air DAE text line. Send your text to 82945. Start texting DAE followed by your thoughts. Standard data and messaging rates do apply. And also, we'll keep the conversation going on Facebook at 620 WDAE.
Brian Burns is going to join us at 1 o'clock, Tampa Bay Lightning beat reporter. More on this coming up. And then something that was on last night. I didn't see it because it was on Real Sports, and I was at the Trop watching Willie Adames. I got a chance. I thought this is going to be his debut. Willie Adames, his second at bat, hits a home run against Chris Sale. So I didn't see the HBO Real Sports. That was with our dear friend Scott Brantley, who was on with us. Hell, he was on, Jay, back in the day, 1980-81. He would come in. He was the player of the week type thing. Mm-hmm. Every Monday, he'd come in and be on the air with me.
Oh, wow.
We're talking back in 80-81. And with 2 years ago, he was on the air with us once a week.
He was killing it.
So he's one of the more popular athletes in the Bay Area and one of the really good guys. I've become very good friends with Scott Brantley. Hadn't talked to him in probably 6 months or so. And then that Real Sports special last night about what he's dealing with.
Yeah, a lot of crazy stuff. So we'll be talking with HBO Real Sports reporter John Frankel. You may know the name, not remember his face. Make sure you go check him out on Twitter, online as well. We'll have him at 2:50.
And if you're not sure what that HBO piece was on Scott Brantley, we'll talk about it when we come back. And of course, more on the Lightning. Doug in Palm Harbor, let's go to you quickly here. Wants to talk Lightning. Doug, go ahead. Yep. Yes. Me too. I think it's that simple. I think it's as simple as Girardi put it, and as simple as those of us that watched. And if you're getting pushed around, you're not going to win the game.
Exactly. So, I mean, just hope it's Game 7, fresh slate tonight. Throw it out. Throw everything out the window. We got home ice advantage tonight. New game.
All right, we're back, and we'll let you know what the piece on Scott Brantley was as well when we return.
All right, guys, it's going to wrap it up for us here. We'll be on noon to 3 today, 620 WDA 95.3 FM. Also on the iHeartRadio app, 620WDA.com/listen. Go Bolts.